So, why is Jackson Hole, this little town in Wyoming, so rich? I mean, seriously, we're talking about a state that's mostly open land, cowboys and small towns with more moose than people. Wyoming is the least populated state in the entire U.S., and smack in the middle of all that, there's this place called Jackson. On the surface, it looks like just another quiet mountain town. Rustic charm, a few shops, cozy diners, snow-capped peaks in the background. But take a closer look, and suddenly, it feels like you've stepped into the billionaire version of a postcard. Now here's the deal. Jackson Hole isn't just wealthy, it's crazy wealthy. We're talking about one of the richest places in the entire country. And no, I'm not exaggerating. The average home price here is over $2 million. That's not just expensive. That's double the price of a home in Orange County, California. And if you compare it to the national average, it's almost 6 times more. Sounds insane, right? But how did that happen? I mean, this is Wyoming we're talking about. There are only around 600,000 people in the whole state. Most of it is made up of tiny towns and huge stretches of untouched land. It's not like Jackson is the next Silicon Valley or some financial epicenter. So what gives? How did this little ski town turn into a haven for the ultra-rich? Well, let's start from the beginning. Jackson is located in Teton County and has a population of about 10,000 people. So, not big at all. The town itself is built around tourism. People come here to ski in the winter, hike in the summer, and visit the stunning national parks nearby. It's got that outdoorsy charm that people dream about. Cozy cabins, crisp air, and mountain views that never get old. It feels like the perfect retreat.
Jackson Lake Lodge being right before that, it really ties in with those past lodges in that it's a lodge with these outskirt cabins. So I think in that sense, Jackson Lake Lodge is really the last great rustic lodge, but it also is a bridge into what was to come in Mission 66.
But here's the kicker. It's not just the nature pulling people in. It's the type of people coming here that changed everything. See, over the past couple of decades, and especially during the pandemic, Jackson Hole became a magnet for the mega wealthy. Not just your average rich folks. We're talking billionaires, CEOs, celebrities, hedge fund managers. And the best part, for them at least, they're not living in the town center like the locals. No, most of them are tucked away in sprawling estates just outside the town, surrounded by land, forests, and peace. Sounds good, right? Well, for them, it absolutely is. Imagine having your second or third home here, waking up to those Teton Mountains every morning, hitting the slopes in winter, fly fishing in summer, and not paying a dime in state income tax. Yep, that's right. Wyoming has no personal or corporate income tax. Combine that with fresh air and stunning views for wealthy folks trying to get away from the chaos of cities like New York or LA. This place checks all the boxes. But here's another thing. This didn't happen overnight. It's been building up for years. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, things exploded. With cities in lockdown, people were desperate for space, privacy, and nature. So they packed up, left the cities, and headed for places like Jackson Hole. Property demand shot through the roof, and prices followed. A house that might have cost $2 million in 2020. It was selling for double that in 2021. That's not just a market boom, it's a full-on buying frenzy. Now you're probably wondering, why is there such a limited supply of land in Wyoming? Isn't the whole state just wide open space? Well, yes and no. Wyoming does have a ton of land, but in Teton County, it's a different story. Over 97% of the land here is owned by the federal or state government. Think national parks, protected forests, public lands. That leaves less than 3%, just a tiny sliver, for private development. And that's exactly what happened. People came pouring in, buying up ranches, building luxury homes, and pretty soon, the entire valley started shifting. What used to be a quiet, down-to-earth mountain town began turning into a high-end playground for the wealthy. And once the billionaires started showing up, well, it changed everything. The real estate market went wild. Businesses started catering to a much richer crowd, and Jackson Hole slowly became known as one of the most elite zip codes in America. But here's the twist. While the town looks rich from the outside, not everyone living there is rolling in cash. In fact, most of the longtime locals aren't rich at all. The guy pouring your coffee, the teacher at the elementary school, the mechanic fixing your truck, they're not living in those fancy estates. They're trying to hang on while prices keep climbing around them, Truth is, for many locals, life in Jackson has gotten harder, not easier. See, the cost of living has gotten so out of hand that a huge chunk of Jackson's workers have to live way outside of town. And we're not talking about a short drive down the street. We're talking about driving over a mountain pass every single day, sometimes in icy conditions, just to get to work. People are moving to places like Victor or Driggs in Idaho because that's the only place they can afford rent. Sounds exhausting, right? It's almost like the town is split in two. On one side, you have the wealthy newcomers, the tech billionaires, the hedge fund folks, the Hollywood names. They're building homes with private gyms, heated driveways, and 24-hour concierge services. On the other side, you've got the locals, folks who've lived in the valley for generations, now struggling just to afford groceries, rent, or childcare. So, what's the future of Jackson Hole? Honestly, that's the million-dollar question. Or maybe in this case, the $5 million one. If the trend keeps going, Jackson could become a place where only the ultra-wealthy can live. A town of second homes and seasonal visitors, where the lights in the neighborhood stay off 9 months of the year. So, why is Jackson Hole so wealthy? It's not just because of the tax laws, or the ski slopes, or the scenery. It's because it became a symbol of escape. An escape from the noise, the stress, the chaos of big cities. For the ultra-rich, it's a quiet corner of America where they can live the way they want. But the bigger question is, who gets left behind when a town becomes a brand? When paradise comes at a price, and that price pushes everyone else out, what's left? Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.